In this video, I'll be going through how to give or administer the consulting case as if you are the interviewer. It's important that you know how to actually give the case and not just receive one. If need be, you might even have to teach your friends and the people you are receiving these cases from how to give a consulting case. If this isn't done right, all of the preparation that you're doing within your group might not really be a good reflection of what you'll face in the interview, and therefore might not be very effective preparation for you. All of the topics which are covered in this video are available in a lot more detail in the notes provided in the description below. To give someone a case to solve, there are 3 important steps that we look at. The first is the preparation that you do before you actually give them the case. The second is when you actually administer the case. And the third is finally after the case is done, when you give them feedback on how they performed. In order to give a case to an interviewee, you need to either pick up a case from a case book, which might be brand new for you, or you can pick up a case which you have solved earlier. Even if you've just read the case in a case book, we can treat that as a case that you've already solved. The first thing that you need to do now is resolve the case, which is rethink how you would go about solving it now. In doing that, there are 3 items you need to look out for. The first is, what are the key insights? This is the most important thing to map out and write down separately. A key insight is something that shapes the direction that the case will take. It could be a very important fact in the problem statement, in the clarifying questions, or as you go through the structures, what are the important insights that you find that help you actually narrow down and go towards the solution. The second thing you look for are useful structures. Now these are really any structure which captures the required buckets to capture the required key insights, and also contain other buckets which are useful for discovering any other place where a key insight could have been in a similar situation. Finally, you look for brownie points, which are other useful insights which aren't really going to be a game changer for this case, but is interesting and might help shape your recommendation in some way or form. Brownie points are not absolutely necessary, but it's good to have a list of them so that you can also provide this to the interviewee. Similarly, the structures are just useful but not mandatory. The key insights are absolutely necessary for you to administer this case correctly. While administering the case, you start off by giving them the problem statement. After that, they will begin to ask clarifying questions. Be lenient during the clarifying questions. The interviewee may not ask all of the questions that you would at this stage, but give them the benefit of the doubt and check whether they're capturing at least the key insights later on in the case. You can take note of what questions they failed to ask that would have been useful here, but avoid interrupting them during clarifying questions or making them ask more questions. When they begin to structure the case, start noting down the structure along with them so that you can also clearly see what all is there in their structure and what directions they might go in. Use this information to check whether they are on track to capturing the required key insights. If they begin to deep dive into a certain bucket and it therefore looks like they might not capture a key insight which is somewhere else, then do hint to them that they are missing out on something and try to push them in the right direction. If they don't get that hint, check whether the situation is such that they will not capture that insight if they follow the path that they're going through. If so, stop them and share the key insight. Do not allow the interviewee to continue with the entire interview such that they cannot get the required insights. But don't stop them too early and just share the information for free. Once you've got through most of the key insights, also have a look at what sort of structures they are putting forward. Do not stop them just because their structure does not match your structure. There are lots of ways in which you can solve the case. If their structures do not look messy, or if their structures are such that they cannot easily or elegantly capture other insights which could have been in this scenario, make a note of it, but not stop them and prevent them from moving forward unless they are looking like they are going to miss a key insight. Once they are in a stage where they can capture a brownie point, or if they're close to getting in that direction, try to share it with them. Hint at the brownie point, but if they do not grab at it, then ignore it and allow them to move forward. Once the case has reached a stage where they have more or less figured out what the key insights are and have arrived at a solution, always allow them to synthesize. Now, while you're solving cases in a case group, it might take a little longer than expected to actually complete the entire practice case. But always give the interviewee the benefit of practicing their synthesis as well. This is the easiest part to get right, and so always give them that small win at the very least. Once you're done administering the case, you should have a thorough set of notes with you, which will look pretty similar to your notebook if you were the one solving the case, perhaps with a few more notes here and there on the side. The way to give feedback at the end of the case is in 3 steps, where you first of all run through the entire case. Do this in the flow of the case. Don't jump around to the things that they did right and then the things that they did wrong. Make sure you go in the same flow of the case. This makes it a little easier for them to also remember what they were thinking then, and it makes sure that neither you nor the interviewee misses out on an important point in the process. As you're doing this, secondly, make sure that you cover both the highlights as well as the problem areas. Right? If there's anything that they've done right, make sure that you point that out. If there's something that you would have done differently or that they did particularly poorly, point that out as well. Make sure that you're really ranking all of the elements of the case in terms of how good or otherwise it was. Finally, once you're done giving feedback, have an open discussion with the interviewee. Both of you are learning together, and therefore ensure that you sit together and rework the solution. Once you've refined how both of you together think this case could or should be solved, that acts as pretty much your preparation for the next time you're going to give this case to someone else. Those are the 3 key ideas to keep in mind while giving someone a case as an interviewer. You can have a look at this topic and all of the other topics in this video series in much greater detail in the notes provided in the description below. If this video or other videos in the series seem relevant and useful to you, do remember to like, share, and subscribe.